Welcome. I'm going to put myself in centre stage because I'm more important than either him, Dave, over there, who's playing Oshian Ishibata, or him, Yaquob, over there, who's playing... No, Tony.
Yaquob is playing Tony.
Yaquob.
Tony is a fictional character being played by Yaquob.
No, I'm putting myself in the central position so that when I put up a non-player character like that one, they obliterate me and they don't obliterate Dave's face, because everybody we know tunes in for Dave's face. And for those of you who have tuned in for Dave's face today, let me welcome you. This may be the last session of the Uharan Echo, the story that we've been running for the last 8 weeks, I think, in every Friday, part of the
Monday,
Cyclade.
Monday.
Every Monday.
Yeah, not
What
Friday.
did I say?
Friday. Friday.
Every Friday is when I wish we were doing it. No, every Monday. Anyway, yes, so every Monday we've been playing, and you can see us here again next Monday, not next Friday. Possibly. And I don't know whether we're going to be actually finishing off the Uharan Echo next week. Kind of depends on how much you guys procrastinate.
So,
and you, of course, are not
which
a couple
could be
of
quite a
detectives
bit.
who are known for your rushing in where fools fear to tread. Anyway, Tony, would you like to explain what happened last week? Because you were awake for more of it than Dave. I mean,
Yes. So
Yaquob was awake for more of it than Oshian.
Dave slept through the scenario. Was that
It was
exciting?
it was the best scenario so far.
So
Thank you.
after coming through the portal from Uharan, the next thing we knew is we woke up in hospital, which turned out to be in the Paroni Kui Hospital on Kura, which is a very posh, expensive hospital. We'd been taken there by Adira Tain, who was a colonial agent at the Dabaran portal station. It turns out that we appear to be the only survivors of the incident in Uharan.
Let's just clarify that for the sake of the hearts of our audience. All the colonial agent and all the Zolossians that you tried to rescue appear to have died. You do not know the fate.
Jalaya and Adib, there appeared to be not. We were told that they weren't. There was no sign of them when the ship came through the portal. So we don't know they're dead, but they disappeared. Apparently, which is probably not a good sign. Disappearing out of a ship in the middle of a
when they were made aware of your presence, by the time they were made aware of your presence, they hadn't been made aware of these other two. So whether they disappeared from the ship...
Okay, so they might have woken up and sneaked off before we were found. So there is a possibility they made it out and are still alive somewhere.
Well, if they did that, then I'll be quite disappointed that they'd snuck out, leaving us, in the state that we were in, bastards.
Yeah.
Well, maybe there was... Look, it's me leaving the space open for Million Paul to come back again.
Well, when they do come back, we shall be having words with them. That's
we'll
what
have
without
a
forcing
conversation
them to do this bit. Let's be brutally honest here.
Oshian appeared to be a slightly worse state than I was. He was still unconscious. He was having some dreams, something to do with his mother and his sister. I didn't really make any more detailed notes than that, so I can't remember exactly what that was about. Dreams of a creeping dark. Again, something to do with his mother and sister. I don't remember any more than that.
Let's just be really clear. Not Oedipal dreams at all. I just want to make that really clear.
Not.
I mean, it might be my dirty mind, but I just wanted to make clear if any of the audience were having that dirty mind thought.
So then we were seen by someone called Varian Sodonna, who's a fairly high-ranking member of the Astroscience Division of the Consortium, who was something to do with the salvage ship that rescued us. Oshian ship was apparently still in the Dabaran system being repaired somewhere. I think it was this person was the first person who basically offered to offered us a job to work for the consortium, but they weren't really very clear about what they were actually offering. We made an offer of 20,000 a month, suggesting that's what we would accept. They didn't make a counter offer. They basically just said, "Oh, that's too much. Come up with a different offer." And we kind of said, no, you make us an offer. That's how it works.
Well, we did. We then said 19,500.
Yeah. So I think they went off in a bit of a huff without any agreement. We were taken to see someone called Commander Din Hammer, I believe, who was from the Hegemony flagship in the area, who did offer us a job as well. That they offered us 25,000 bear a month to work for the Astaban, assuming that we would be able to work with the appropriate level of discretion and exclusivity for that.
Yeah.
So I think we didn't accept that immediately, but I think we were much better disposed to that offer than to the non-offer from the consortium. I think that was
kind of where it was. But I think there was one more thing. There was a I'm not sure what kind of event it is up in the monolith.
Oh yes, in the Sky City that we're going to invite.
There's some
celebration
kind
of the Cyclade, because it's
that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's the big New Year's celebration. But you've been invited to Sky City, and maybe this is a time to talk a little bit about Sky City. Shall we do that? Because
yes.
I've got a cross section of the monolith here, because I thought we ought to talk a little bit about that. Now, I don't think you can see my cursor at all on this way of doing it.
Not at the moment.
And
is that the image?
Text.
Is that the image out of the core book?
That is the image out of the core book. I went to the core book and grabbed it out of the core book to show you. Basically, you are down kind of near the base of this at the moment in the hospital. That's where this very expensive hospital is. You're in what's called Covenant City, which is at the sort of base of the monolith. Sky City is kind of up at the top, not quite the very top, because the very top is the Palace of the Hegemony. But Sky City is pretty close to the top up there.
Cool.
So there's a great honour bestowed on you by the Zenithians. And I believe...
Yeah, I think I've lived here all my life. I've never been up there.
No. You've lived in the conglomerate, a little bit away from Covenant City. You're not even important enough to get into Covenant City. The guy you met, Havima, about a year ago, who took you or got you into the Algolan slave traders' palace for that wedding.
For the wedding party.
I remember Havima. Did he survive?
He did survive, yeah. He came with you to the Sutra Marshes.
Oh, yes, he did.
And all of you witnessed the butterfly ship.
Yeah.
I don't know where he's been since then, because I'm still working out what the next adventure is going to be, and
whether he's in it or
going to
not.
be in a different place since then. I was talking with the player, and he was rather hoping that he might have gone to Mirror, but he may still be here. But before the next act starts, I will have worked out where he's been, and I think he will be part of the next adventure.
Cool.
But yes, what's her name? Whose name I've just forgotten.
Vinrama?
Yes, Dinrama implied that it was she that got you to the invites to this very fancy party.
Cool. And we've still got the fancy clothes that Havima bought for us for the other party. Are they fancy enough for this?
Well, actually, we should maybe cut to the action here, because a couple of days of rest later, you are fully recovered, by the way. All your stats back to normal.
Cool.
You are invited into a room in the hospital where you are met by a woman called Mahadia Alana, who's an older woman but very photogenic with a razor-sharp tongue, and you will have recognized her from the bulletin. She's one of the chief hosts and reporters of the Bulletin. And she is also with Taron Parr, who has icy white hair and a perfect smile.
So is this Fiona Bruce and Hugh Edwards then that we're meeting? Is it?
Those at the level.
Works generally behind the camera, so not Hugh Edwards.
Right. Okay.
But you wonder whether he's been a war correspondent. He's got quite a scarred face, really good looking, but there is lots of action in his face. His teeth are perfect, as we've said, but his skin isn't quite unblemished. And they are known. I won't make you make a culture roll for this, although part of me really wants to. They are known for such broadcasts on the Bulletin as the Wheel of Fatima, Studio Zana, and the Explorer drama Beyond the Rimwood Reach. And they have brought with them, I should say, a number of serving people, obviously, who've actually wheeled in a couple of racks of beautiful garments designed by the current prodigies of Zenithian fashion, as well as jewellery from the finest artisans on Kua, Dabara, and Mira. And you are allocated wardrobe assistants. And she leaves you with to choose what you want to wear, but leaves you with a smile, a little laugh, and she reminds you that you should smile and laugh as well when you're meeting all the dignitaries in the in Sky City.
Okay.
Makeup first of all before you get
we can be happy. And
are there any particular blemishes?
We could be happy.
You look properly Zenithian. You haven't got any like first come political tattoos or anything like that, says the makeup artist. So you don't need to do a job there. Yeah, and a couple of chairs are wheeled out, and you're invited to sit down, and you are pampered.
Okay.
And made to look passably beautiful. I'm just looking at your face, Oshian, here. It's going to be quite a lot of work.
Seeing we're trying not to be too rude on this show, I shall resist my response. I shall save it for after the show.
Now you'll notice we can imagine I have a face for being put behind the map as well. So. Right. Do you have any particular choice of colours? The style of clothing you have to wear?
I wear white. In the style of the Lady of Tears.
Ka-ching! Okay.
Well, I've got it written down on my coat. I wear white is what I've written down on my coat.
Okay, excellent. So they're a little bit disappointed. White's it is the colour of death after all, and they're a little bit disappointed by that. But they do find
I'm going to say to them,
white gowns.
Surely we can accessorize. Come on,
Yeah. Well, they're looking at heavy gold lace on the edges of the sleeves and the cuffs and things like that. A beautiful filigree belt made of gold jewels to set that off. Anything else you desire? This is where I put you on the post as fashion designers.
That's a pity.
If I were asking an artist to create character portraits of you, how would you want them dressed in their finest? I'm only saying that because Millie, the GM, has got beautiful character portraits of her characters, so they can obviously think of beautiful clothes to wear.
I don't think I've ever had beautiful clothes to wear, or even ever given any thought to what they might be if I could afford them. So I'd say, look, I have no preference. Just I'll take your advice. Well, wear whatever you think is going to be best.
And this is where I wish I had the imagination to create something that was the height of fashion, but also inherently ridiculous. But I can't think of anything to do that. But
I need something with mine that indicates fire and that kind of warmth to go with the white.
Oshian, you're giving this some thought, aren't you? Yeah.
I'm just reading down my list of things that apply to the Lady of Tears. That's what I'm doing.
Of course, because sometimes she's known as the Lady of Tar, isn't she?
Yes.
And that's not a misprint.
And can be the butcher as well. But I'm not going for that one. Butcher's outfit with bloodstains on it.
White with blood splatters up the sleeve.
Now that'll come later once we're at the party.
I think Yaquob, they present you Mirren fashions that are exquisite, slightly rustic, I think, with long vertical stripes, but of such exquisite gold and with gold filigree worked into some of the stripes as well that it really shows you at your very best. And then eventually Mahida and Taran come back, and they look you up and down and they applaud your good taste. And I can see, says Mahida, that you are still in mourning for the dead colleagues that you tried so valiantly to save, but were unable to save. And then they walk you down to a slightly lower level of the hospital. And you can already hear now, as we're getting into more public areas, this is the first time really that you are coming out of the incredibly private confines of the hospital. And you can see that the sights and the sounds of the Cyclade are in full swing. Even here in the most civilized part of Kua, people behave much as they do on the plazas of Coriolis, where you've spent much of your time. There are children setting off fireworks. There are great splashes of colour as people basically spread incredible designs over the pavements of a raw dye, which costs a fortune, but they're just sprinkling it on the pavements. Will get washed away in the next rainstorm, but they're creating wonderful designs, huge images of the icons, each one of them. Of course, not the faceless, because it doesn't particularly have an image, but all the icons that are to come in the coming Cyclade. Looking back behind you, you see enormous, great Zenithian drapes decorating the buildings of the lower levels of the monolith. And eventually they guide you to the Soldamai pillar, which is something you've heard of. I'm going to get rid of this now. Give me a moment. Yaquob, but you've never had the pleasure of going there. The Soldamai pillar is one of the largest venti-shafts, as it's called, verti-shafts, I should say, that carry residents of the Covenant City up past the Forbidden Sector to Sky City's magnificent gardens. Now, your party is split into two, as so that you can kind of you can fit into the two of the great glass elevators that whiz up these verti-shafts. But just before you get to the elevators, you're crossing a busy square full of people celebrating the new year. And as you're waiting for the elevator to arrive, can you make an observation roll, Dave?
Just Dave?
Can try.
He has better observation than you, doesn't he?
I do. Do I need to roll my extra 2 dice?
Yeah, they could do that.
For defensive. Okay, so that's 2 successes on my original ones, none on my extra. So 2 successes in total.
Okay. So this is the first time you've been up and out of the hospital, and your agoraphobia seems to have been replaced by another problem, but you're still feeling this isn't the confines of Coriolis. It's not the closed environment of a spaceship. You're on the surface of a planet with the most enormous building. I don't know whether it's a building. I don't know whether anybody really knows what the monolith actually is. But the most enormous thing, you're right at the base of this, and it's towering up into the sky, into the upper reaches of the thin atmosphere. It makes you feel very small and very open. I'm going to spend a darkness point for this one. And very much in the open. And so you start... oh dear, I've got a great pile of stuff in my darkness points. Foolish of me. You start to sweat a little bit with fear, but you're keeping it under control. And there's a cool breeze here, which is able to cool your clammy skin, and the bits of jewellery you've got, you've been adorned with, are chiming a little bit like tiny, tiny little wind chimes. So it's kind of calming. But you're still kind of nervous. And then suddenly, because you got this role, this doesn't affect you at all, but suddenly there's yelling heard from the crowd, and there are 3 people kind of pushing their way out of the observing crowd, and you've been escorted by judicators who instinctively close their helmets, draw their Vulcans, and you are looking at them. You know, there's a moment of defenselessness because you've got none of your weapons with you at the moment. But you can see that the judicators have this under control. There's a bottle or something comes swinging out the crowd and explodes against the side of the wall, but it's just bullets. And you are, as the judicators are dealing with it, you are hurried in to an elevator.
So does this seem like anger rather than just over-exuberant celebration?
Well, it's hard to tell. It did look like anger, but now you find yourselves, the 2 of you and just one of the guards, in this elevator as it goes up. And he says, "Stick together. Do exactly as I say. You are safe here." And it shoots upward at quite some speed.
I hadn't realised that we were unsafe.
No, we were going to celebration. Why would we not be safe? What's happening? Is this something you want to tell us?
He raises his hand to bid you kind of to say all will be revealed, but just sign language. And the elevator comes to a jerking stop, not at the top, not in the Sky City. You're not quite sure how many floors up you are. When the doors open, he steps out, looks around, and then walks a few steps away, and somebody else comes in.
So how far up? You cut out a little bit there, Matthew. How far up have we gone?
You don't know
the
how far up you've
monolith?
gone, but
Okay.
you're by nowhere. You're nowhere near Sky City yet.
Nowhere near the top yet.
And
This guard,
as you,
does he have... So I'm obviously feeling a bit nervous about what's going on. I'm nervous about the whole situation anyway, seeing I've only just lost my agoraphobic. I've just got over my agoraphobia.
we haven't quite got over your agoraphobia. You were feeling a little bit of it there, but we're moving into...
Yeah. Has he got any weapons, like, holstered that if things went bad, I could try and grab?
He's now out of range of you.
Right, okay.
He's left you in private with this woman.
Right.
What
Okay.
it feels like. By arrangement. Whether all the guards that were escorting you to Sky City knew about this arrangement or not, you're not entirely sure.
We don't know.
But
Right.
putting
Okay.
2 and 2 together, you're beginning to wonder whether this shout of anger and this
It's a big
distraction
setup.
of the
Was a
guards
set up to get
downstairs
us?
was to get you alone with this woman.
Okay.
As you can see, she's wearing a red silk velvet dress, and she's got gold makeup here. Now, could I get you, Tony, to make a culture roll at -1?
Can I assist him?
No, I think it's on his own.
Okay.
-1. I get 2 successes on that.
2 successes. Well, you're not particularly au fait with first come culture, really, because you're not as much of a Zenithian first comer phobe as your detective partner. But neither are you particularly a student of first come traditions. But you recognise this gold makeup that she's wearing as being a symbol of some rank in first come society.
Does it give a sense of faction?
Yeah, for 2, I will suggest, and also when she starts speaking, you can recognise a slight accent that suggests she's of Mughal ancestry. And she says, "Do not be afraid, my dears. My name is Sadi Bat Erdin, and I represent Aishan's Emporium. I am here because your other options all inevitably end in death." Aishan's Emporium is spelled, if you're making notes, Aishan. Emporium.
Emporium.
Yeah.
And sorry, what was your name again? Sadi Bat.
Sadi Bat Erdin. SAHDI BAT apostrophe capital ERDEN.
And why? Well, I guess one. How do you know that those offers have been made and that they'll end in our death? And what counter offer are you? Are you just warning us, or are you actually here to offer us something?
Yeah. What's your interest in our safety?
Yes, I would like to make you a counter proposal. My partners and I see great potential in you and your growing knowledge about the Horizon's, shall we call it, political cloak and dagger machinations. We would like to hire you as problem solvers, information gatherers, and artifact hunters.
Problem solvers, artifact
Information
hunters,
Information
information.
gatherers.
And on what kind of terms are you talking? And what kind of information will you expect us to gather? What kind of problems are you going to expect us to solve, and how would you expect us to solve them? Those kind of things.
Well, we are not able to offer you a retainer, but you will be paid very handsomely when we come to you with a problem that needs solving, entirely commensurate with the scale of the problem. There is also, of course, the very nature of the Emporium as dealers in fine art and particularly in artifacts of, shall we say, portal builder derivation. There may be, of course, recompense beyond your wildest imaginings for the some of those things could be arguably invaluable. I do not have time to negotiate a fee with you. I just want to make you aware that there is a third option.
And you are, in effect, offering to commission us when it suits you for a price for the job at that time.
Yes, I think that is the best way. But I think you will not find many days of the year when you want to work and there is not work available for you. It isn't a retainer. You won't have, we can't afford to give you the luxurious lifestyle that I know the Zenithians are offering. Do you want to make a manipulation roll, and one of you help the other?
Yeah. Shall I make the roll?
I think you ought to, really, yeah. Unless we want to fail it, that is. In which case, I ought to roll it.
Can I get a die of help from Oshian?
Yes.
I think he said yes, yeah.
Okay. Got one success. Do you think we want more than that? Don't want to give Matthew a darkness point.
Probably not at this point, I don't think.
No, okay, we'll stick with one then. One success.
We have you have contacts all over the horizon. You would be assured of having a friend in every port.
We've already got a friend in every port, actually.
Does that mean we'd have two friends in every port?
I'm not entirely sure how as G. But yes,
have we, with my culture rod, have we
checked this with Ricard as well, the author of the scenario? These extra group talents that your patrons are offering do come on top of your group talent. It may be you would say, well, go with these guys and we'll select another group talent for our new group that forms for the next mission. But
what was the bonus we were getting from the Astaban in terms of the group talent? I didn't write it down.
That was the same one that you were getting from the Consortium, which I think was the one where I have to give you an answer.
Yeah, because I didn't write that. Truth Seeker.
Yeah, both
Truth Seekers. That was it. Yeah,
both the Astaban and the Consortium were offering you the Truth Seekers talent.
But we still don't know whether that is in addition to the current group talent that we've got, or we have to exchange it.
No, that is in addition. I've just clarified.
All right. Okay. Cool.
Have we heard of this Aishan's Emporium?
Yes, I think you have. I'm not going to get you to make. Well, no, actually, I will get you to make a culture roll.
Can he have a dice of help this time if we're talking about it?
Because this is you're in fund affair. I keep saying it's rude to talk about things. Have you heard of Aishan's Emporium?
Actually, have you heard of them?
No.
I might have heard of them a bit. I've got one success.
Yeah. So I will not give you many of their secrets.
I've probably ordered some stuff from their website, their online shop.
Heard of them. Where I've lost Aishan's Emporium. It's a large network of auction houses. You may even have heard that Sadi Bat Eden is the owner of the Ayn Al Zamud auction house. But the Emporium spreads over a number of, in theory, independent auction houses. But you feel they have a network where they're able to move items from one to the other. Entirely legitimate and above board, I assure you. Now, I'll give you time to consider this. I cannot delay this lift any longer than now. I will leave you and maybe meet you again at the banquet. And she steps out of the lift. The guard comes back in as though nothing happened and sends up this elevator. You carry on going up the up to
the monolith.
Esplanade of Thousands.
Carry on up the monolith. It's one of the classic Carry On films.
Yes, Esplanade of Thousands is where you've gone, and
I could feel a swathe of Carry On quotes coming now.
And there you find the rest of the TV crew and the other guards waiting for you there. And say, "Oh, I'm sure to see you safe." And they congratulate the other guard for escorting you quickly into the lift. They do ask a little bit about why it was delayed, but not so much, because of course they were delayed downstairs. So they've only just got here seconds ahead of you.
So am I in a position now to have a kind of quiet conversation with Yaquob?
I think we should get you into give me an overlay. Oh damn, I haven't done this overlay.
Because I'm kind of wondering whether we actually do we want to work for the first come? Or do we take the Esteban job and then take commissions on the side when play them both off so we can.
Yeah, the Esteban job, there's a risk there. I think they probably were asking for exclusivity of our services for that 25,000 a month retainer.
I don't need more than 25,000 a month.
No,
that covers the ship. It covers our living expenses quite comfortably, I suspect. We could buy stuff. We can even save money.
From this vertishaft, you walk through crowded boulevards and a crimson sunset before getting on board a luxury gravcraft that gracefully ascends through the thin clouds. And this is, I think, the perfect opportunity for you to be having this conversation as you're standing looking at the window, out the window, at a view of Kua and of your hometown, Yaquob, that you've never really seen before.
Mm-hmm.
It almost does feel like you're almost in space and you could reach out and touch Coriolis, which is like a spinning top, but actually it's about the size of a spinning top. It's still miles above you, even at this height.
I think I get a pang of homesickness.
The misty floor below is lit by the setting sun like an ocean of fire. The palace of the Hegemony, Sky City's crown jewel, lies before you, heart of the Zenithian aristocracy and home of the mighty Kassar clan. Towers of purple Dabaran opal mirror the starry skies above. Wild marble stairs connect winding walkways with beautiful terraces, filled with every conceivable botanical wonder. The craft touches down softly on an open plaza circled by marble statues of Zenithian celebrities and heroes. Wide steps covered in hand-woven rugs lead small parties of extravagantly dressed guests and colourful units of elite house guards up towards the palace's main entrance. Between the two jewelled stone gates, a dark shape rises toward the heavens, a massive sculpture of the zenith and her interior in shining duraglass. You carefully begin your climb up the stairs to celebrate the Cyclade with the third horizons high and mighty in a banquet where you are the guests of honor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so where were those statues where we came in? Have they put our statues up yet?
They have not put your statues up. You're not quite the Zenithian celebrities.
Are you asking them that, Tone? Where's our statue?
Yes. Is that you unveiling that later then as part of the celebrations?
So, okay, so we're guests of honor in this entire banquet. And how many people are at this banquet?
Oh, there are hundreds, to be honest. I know. This is you came up from the I can't remember what it's called, something like the Cast of Thousands, the Esplanade of Thousands, and there is also a Cabinet of Thousands, which is the kind of Zenithian hegemonic government if they had a government. So there's a lot of family members here and family hangers-on.
Yeah.
That you can see. You could get quite lost in this crowd. Just to give you a sort of idea of the scale, this is just one of the rooms, and you can see you've got fountains in here, and over on the other side of the fountains there's a crowd of people. So yeah, there's hundreds of people here. If you look up through this plexiglass
ceiling, yeah,
again, you're looking straight up at Coriolis itself.
So we're right at the
is
top.
Coriolis in geosynchronous orbit above this point?
Above the monolith, yes. It has always been so. Well, it hasn't always been so. 70 years ago, it hadn't even come to the planet. But when they converted the ship Zenith into the star station Coriolis, they positioned it in pretty much geosynchronous orbit above the Zenith. It wobbles a little bit, which explains some discrepancies in the day length in the calendar. If anybody's asking.
Nicely retconned, Matt. Well done.
Thank you.
So was that your mistake? Was that your mistake in the calendar?
They do come from different sources within the core book. But I have made a solution, which I think is elegant.
I wonder if, is this the opportunity to hobnob? But I'm not very good at hobnobbing.
I think we should probably do some hobnobbing. I'm not sure who the best people to hobnob with are. It's not like, we've got the job offers in already, haven't we? So.
Yeah. Maybe we should just go around and be like, yeah, we are heroes of the horizon. Be really arrogant.
And I hadn't thought of this before, so I'm now having to look him up from your first adventure up here. But I'm determined to find him. Give me a moment.
Is this the judge that we met in the restaurant?
No.
The judge was a woman, wasn't she?
You are greeted by Uharan Echo, who I could probably find in my archive of photographs. But Uharan Echo was the Zenithian ambassador to Coriolis.
Okay.
And he comes in a long golden gown. He's got the makeup, Zenithian makeup on his face, accentuating his pretty good looks. You notice the makeup makes the most of his cheekbones, and in fact probably gives him cheekbones that aren't there. And he greets you full of smiles and says, my old friends, Oshian and Yaquob, welcome to Sky City.
In what context did we meet him before? Can we remember?
Well, I don't know. Can you?
No.
I can remember, but I'm the GM. You're living this experience, Tony. Come on.
This is the kind of thing we would probably have remembered, though, isn't it?
It is the kind of thing you would probably have remembered.
As characters, we might not as players.
Was the last person to visit the emissary before the emissary disappeared.
Yes, I remember that.
Yes. So you were the one who was implicated in the emissary's disappearance. I mean,
yeah, that we very strongly suspected of being involved in that. Yes.
No, I'm not saying that.
No.
I'll smile broadly and say it's an honour and a pleasure to meet with you again in better circumstances.
In better circumstances, yes, indeed.
Indeed it is. And I never did thank you properly for the sterling work you did trying to track the emissary down and uncovering that corrupt adjudicator who brings shame upon Coriolis, upon Alarm's temple, and upon the Zilithian hegemony. I do not quite, I'm not I don't have anything to do with the law thereabouts, but I have heard it said that she has been severely punished, maybe terminally so.
I've kind of lost track of who we're talking about, actually. Don't. I'm not saying that again. I'm just going to nod and smile.
Yeah. So nodding, just smile and nod, smile away.
In a satisfactory kind of way.
Yeah, I'm sure our you see, look, our listeners know who this fella is. I don't think they were slaves, Millie. I think they were servants, possibly indentured servants. They're family, but we don't have slavery here on Kua, really, do we? Do we now? Really, we don't have slavery here on Kua. That's an Algolan tradition. Damn first come.
Not anymore. Not since we helped the resistance destroy slavery in the
Bay Basin.
Bay Basin, exactly.
Yes, it is.
And how did the Bay Basin guys thank us? They came with us on our ship and they left us to die after a bad portal jump.
Yeah, they shot our ship down and they came with us, and then they legged it and left us unconscious.
Right, I'm going to take that picture down now, so you can look your audience in the eye when you accuse them of leaving you stranded.
I'm accusing you of having them leave me stranded.
So,
okay.
If you also remember the judicator who was your liaison with the judge,
turned out to be the bad guy.
When you told her your location, then there appeared to be a bloody great load of missiles that went land on your location.
Yeah.
So I think you then told Judge Uharan that you had your suspicions about the judicator, and it appears that she's dealt with. What?
Quite happy if it is a terminal way, frankly, considering her behaviour.
He leans in and says, I hear she was secretly working for the Zalosians.
And that does seem to be the case, doesn't it?
Did it look that way a little bit, didn't it? Yes.
Anyway, you are the guests of honor here. I cannot requisition all your time. There's much to enjoy here. Explore, meet the good of Zilithian culture. I'm sure we will see each other again before the night is out and the new Cyclade begins.
Indeed. Happy new Cyclade.
Indeed. A pleasure to talk to you.
I'm guessing, I think, Oshian is probably feeling a bit culture shocked by all of this, and probably by
above your standard of living.
By all the dreams and stuff that I've been having. I'm a bit confused and a bit kind of rabbit in headlights, really. Just almost going through the motions.
We talked about that courtyard that you've been in. Actually, looking at that crystal ceiling you had there, you'll notice that one of the crystals was actually worked as a kind of magnifying glass that brings Coriolis a bit closer than he actually is, you now realise. You'll notice as well that there are a number of camera Jones from the bulletins who are now following you around wherever you walk.
Smile, Oshian, smile, the cafe. Apparently, that's what we need to do.
I am happy. Can we get a drink or something?
I think we should do
Drinks are pressed into your hands by
excellent
Maybe some of the same servants who you last saw carrying deadly plants, but this time they are carrying. Oh, well, no, indeed, they were serving you drinks and food and things before. So they were, yes, they bring drinks to you, cohol, whatever you want.
Yeah, I think might as well enjoy yourselves, aren't we?
Well, yeah, absolutely. We're not here to work, are we, tonight? We're here to
no, exactly.
Just relax and celebrate the.
And I'm deliberately not going to hand out any business cards whilst I'm here, because that might be. Maybe I'll just leave a little pile on a desk next to the cloak room. The cloak check thing. If anybody wants to pick one up.
I'm sorry, you passed the cloak room, but what did you want to do there?
Just drop I'm not going to hand out business cards here, but I'm just going to drop a little pile on the table at the cloak check thing.
Well, there was an area because
old habits die hard and all that
and stuff like that. Obviously, you had none, so that's not an issue. But you could well leave a little pile of cards. But eventually, you find your way into the main banqueting hall, and again, luxury is piled on luxury. A huge room covered in artful flower arrangements, with a plethora of fountains, bars, and groups of velvet pillows. All of them with a small tray of fruits and snacks within easy reach. Around the walls, tapestries show the voyage of the Zenith. Not much. It kind of it skips over the 1,000 years going through empty space. The voyage of the Zenith.
It's just very long black.
When it gets to the third horizon, and it arrives first of all at Dabaran, and then kind of does a tour the horizon before coming here to Kua and finally being dismantled. This is all there. There's a picture of the conversion of the Zenith into the Coriolis as well. And you can see there are screens as well between these tapestries, and on those screens, footage of you that was shot just a few moments ago, where Yaquob reminded you to smile, and you suddenly launch into a false yet beaming smile. This time, 5 foot wide on the screens between the tapestries.
Yeah, that's quite disturbing.
That is very.
There are black marble pillars reaching for the clear blue skies of the hollow dome above. A bright sacred moon shines down over the hall, inspired by the legends of the Zenithians' first home, Al-Ada. You descend into the hall, and the crowd ahead, dignitaries, courtesans, and house guards beyond counting, turn as one to face you and raise their cups. Your bulletin guide flashes a perfect smile towards the cameras and begins to speak, her voice echoing in the sudden silence. Honored and distinguished guests, allow me to introduce the defiant explorers who went toe-to-toe with the Order's fearsome blockade, the survivors of Uharu, the icons chosen, and the children of the mysteries of the portals. Thanks to these brave heroes' choice to stare evil in the face and say, "Not
Tweak the
today!"
These fiddly killerfish
will soon be under righteous Zenithian rule. Before you stand champions, truly blessed by the Nine, for they were swallowed up by the void and spat back out again, unharmed. Tonight we dine and celebrate. Tomorrow we get to work for a brighter horizon together. And of course, there is a roaring, thundering applause. The masses of dignitaries in the hall below the steps come up the steps and swarm around you, begging you to kiss their hands or steal from you. Steal you away for a private meeting later in the evening.
I think she'll try and look suitably humble and embarrassed by this tension. And say, hang on, did we just run away because we were going to die otherwise? Or not? That ends up with us being heroes.
Together! I'm going to raise my glass. Together, yes. For the alliance. I mean, for the
hegemony.
For the hegemony.
You do find it. I mean, actually, Oshian, although you might now be having your doubts about your previous Zenithian patriotism, this does fire everything that you thought was good about Zenith and the Zenithian culture, and everything you thought was wrong about your own culture and you've tried to hide. It does kind of reassure you, despite the doubts, despite your sister coming to you in dreams, in your fevered dreams the last few days, that you made the right choice then. You should cast aside your upbringing and focus on your Zenithian future. You never felt you were truly Zenithian, but here, all of the true Zenithians, maybe even among this crowd, Captain Kassar himself, who came on the Zenith, who has lived, they say, for centuries, maybe in this crowd, and he may have raised, you can't see him, but he may have raised his cup to you. If he didn't, every single one of the offspring of that original crew are raising their cups to you. It feels right to proudly claim yourself Zenithian.
I think there is a feeling. I think there's a duality going on. So I think you're absolutely right with all of that. But I think there is a kind of recognition of, or there's something stirring in my brain and in my soul from my previous life, which I'm sure these dreams are feeding, but I feel that there's something worth protecting in both of them. I think is the feeling I'm coming with.
Well, of course,
I
you
think
might
I'm
spot
probably
a suggestion that those tapestries all show the first come begging for salvation as the Zenithian ship traverses the third horizon. So you can feel maybe that the first come, are saved by the Zenithians and you by them as well. It feels good. How are you feeling, Tony?
I'm feeling probably a little bit uncomfortable with all this. Which is it is basically an almost, I guess, religious kind of ceremony of propaganda of this patriotism. And even though I'm, born and bred on Kua, I don't think I've ever had particularly any xenophobia against the first come. And I'm probably feeling a little bit uncomfortable with the attention that's been put on us in this way. Mm-hmm. I suspect. I'm trying not to show it, try and look happy and everything, but I think I'm not terribly comfortable with this.
Dave, can I get you to make an observation roll?
You can. I'll. If I get to roll my extra 2 dice, that's 2 successes. Otherwise, it's 1 success.
Okay, it's 1 success is all it is because it wasn't dangerous. You were scanning the crowds, wondering if Captain Kassar himself was there, and you spot him. You don't know whether he'd raised his goblet to you, but you imagine amongst that sea of raised goblets that is there. And interestingly, next to him is Feda Din Khrama, the woman who came to see you a couple of days ago.
The Esteban.
The Esteban, who offered us that retainer.
And when he makes eye contact with you, the ancient Baron Kassar nods approvingly.
I'll nod back and raise my glass to him.
And you see him turning to Feda and saying something, and then saying something to one of his courtesans, who gets up and moves into the crowd. And then you see that courtesan coming up the stairs to you.
Okay, yeah, I shall wait for her to...
Honoured guests, my master, the esteemed Baron Kassar, humbly asks for the honour of your company. Please, follow me.
Of course, the honour would be ours. I think we'll go.
Yeah.
Oshian, you coming?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm starting to quite enjoy all this attention, actually. This is, I do feel like we might be being set up for some fall.
The camera drones that had kind of gone off a little bit to survey the scene, they're all coming buzzing around you. They don't want to miss this moment.
I was kind of making... was there a camera drone there when I, had the little nod with my cocktail back
Probably
to...
they missed that, I'm afraid. So, but you're actually going to be face to face with him very shortly. So, and the janissaries through the guard that kind of... You're getting into the VIP area here. Nobody approaches a Baron Kassar without his express invitation. And so he is surrounded by guards who part way as though they are the Red Sea, which is not a metaphor I should be using in this cultural milieu. But they just move to one side as though the icons willed it, and the courtesan walk straight through, and you follow.
We do follow.
Indeed.
My friends, he says. He's very old. Nobody knows exactly how old he is. Some say he was the last captain of the Zenith. Some say he's the only captain of the Zenith. That he has piloted it for its entire 1,000-year journey. If you are at all inclined to believe that, you can only assume he was in and out of hyperspace for that. Nobody believes he's actually.
It's going to say, yeah.
He's like 1,000 years old.
Looking good.
As much as a couple of centuries old. Welcome to my home, and to a night we shan't soon forget. You honour my name and my blood with your presence. I've heard great things about your resourcefulness from my people. And he nods slightly to Fida, standing at perfect attention in her spotless uniform. Tell me about your exploits.
I shall nod to her as well and acknowledge her presence.
So presumably, I mean, now we've gone to this private VIP place. Have the drones followed us in? Are we basically still being?
Yeah, it's not like a private room. They're staying a respectful distance, but they're capturing this meeting because this is kind of part of the massive banqueting thing. But it's like a VIP section in a nightclub. You get to be part of the action, but people can't just come up and hobnob with David Bowie or whatever. You've got to.
David Bowie here as well. His autograph.
Of course he is. Where do you think he went?
Yeah, bye, Mr. Kassar. Let's go and see Dave. Come on.
He is one of the portal builders, and he's right here, sat next to. No. Yes. So yes, he's keen to hear of your adventures.
Well, I think we could tell him. I'll tell him of our adventures. I shall.
Yeah.
I guess make it personal. Just explain about Nur and how it was a personal quest for me to try and rescue my friend.
Zenithian blood?
Yes, I think so. Was she? I can't remember.
Yes, she was.
I believe she was.
Her loss is a great shame.
It was a tragic loss. As I thought I'd promised her father that I would take care of her and watch over her.
Like Friar Bellows.
And these
I've no idea. Who's this Friar Bellows of him you speak? I've no idea who that is. Doesn't sound like the sort of person I'd want to know.
Trouble. We're not. I'm just walking straight over Friar Bellows. Just straight over that. We're not having that conversation. We're in public here. 25 minutes to go. We're not really now. We've done
Blackadder.
38 episodes.
It's just a Blackadder quote. It's fine.
Exactly. Yes. Definitely
Yeah.
Blackadder.
Not Savage Worlds at all.
So, have you had your blood tested? You'll be aware that there is a whole school of the Zenithian hegemony that wants to seek out Zenithian blood amongst all communities to prove, arguably, that the Zenithians were somehow here before the first come.
I've not had my blood tested. No, I was born and raised. Born and raised on Cura.
But he then turns back to Faida, and she leans over and asks you, have you made up your minds about my offer?
I think we probably have, haven't we?
We probably have. Yes, I'm not sure this is the best venue to discuss it with the drones around.
Oh, not at all. It's the perfect venue to discuss it. He's very keen to get that is, if the answer is yes.
You won't be disappointed. What's his title? What's his title? Does he have a title?
He's Captain Kassar, but
Captain Kassar.
he is the original captain that brought the Zenith.
Yeah.
To the horizon.
So I'll say you won't be disappointed by our decision, Captain Kassar.
You forgive me. I'm somewhat old, and you're speaking somewhat in riddles. I won't be disappointed because you have agreed to Faida's proposal.
Yes.
Yes.
I was trying not to say,
right.
Yes, we've agreed to work for the Astaban in front of the cameras.
Yeah, for 25,000 retainer a month.
Remember, Faida explained that you'd be working for the Zenithian hegemony. It was a secret that she confided in you. That she was for the Astaban.
Yeah, we're not really saying that out loud.
No, of course not.
Matthew.
He shakes your hands and he makes sure that the cameras get ample opportunity to capture the occasion. Turns you around, swings, puts an arm around your shoulder, an arm around both your shoulders.
What are we getting ourselves into?
The blessing on there. And then on the screens on the other side of the room, you can see that image a few moments later appearing there.
I'm beaming by now. I've got a big
oh yeah,
smile
absolutely,
on my face,
definitely looking happy.
Yeah.
Everybody in the room is everybody in this section of the room is wanting to come over and congratulate you for joining the elite of the elite. And of course, we must find you a security detail and a group of courtesans. This is going to be the best night of your life. And the courtesan that came over to you goes off to fetch some more courtesans that will now tend to your every need. And indeed, they come back with cups of the finest wine that you've ever had. And Captain Kassar says, a toast now that your glasses are refilled. A toast to the union of these heroes of the horizon and the Zenithian hegemony.
Yay, Zenithian hegemony. Cheers.
Here's to a brighter future. We are building better worlds.
All of them.
All of them. Though I suspect we won't be living in them. Because I'm a monster. Yeah.
You can see among the crowd the very grumpy face of the scientist fellow I'll bring up a picture of him just to remind you what he looked like. This fellow here.
Is he the one who gave
full
us...
of smiles. But in this portrait, he looks a bit grumpy and stone-faced. And that's probably the way he's looking at you now.
Well, it's his own fault. You know.
Should have made a better offer, shouldn't he?
Exactly.
Or an offer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, he may be regretting that decision now.
It does strike me as odd that suddenly we are such hot property for having survived a misjump.
Yeah, suspiciously odd as well, to be honest.
Mm.
A bit concerned that there's something going on that we're not aware of.
Yeah.
Because not saying this out loud, but we're in a situation where it was looking bad and we just legged it. We just ran away into the portal.
Yeah.
But you were the only survivors, and you made some pretty spectacular rolls.
And to be fair, we did track down the emissary.
Yeah, that's true. The Uharan bit is perhaps a bit less.
And you uncovered
heroic.
that Zalosian plot?
Yeah.
With the new Cyclade, the captain says, things will happen. We will seek that the Zalosian is removed from this Coriolis Council of Factions. And your evidence of their nefarious acts, particularly over in the marshes, and their corruption of previously upstanding. What's the word I'm looking for? Justicars, judicators. Will be evidence enough to see them banished from the council. I've got half a mind as well to maybe have you make a speech or something against the governor of Coriolis. Would you do that, my friends?
Okay, remind us who the governor of Coriolis is?
Yeah, it's not particularly anything. I don't think you've met him or anything. Let me just.
Is he Zalosian then?
Or
what did he do?
I think he may be a first come. But you do know that, the story goes that the Coriolis Guard aren't great. And they
there are certainly
to the governor. They're quite corrupt. And so the creation.
So it's about exposing the corruption of the Guard then.
Exactly.
Okay, I don't mind doing that.
I'll be up for that. Yeah, then when the governor himself...
Dargosian is his name.
The governor of Coriolis.
He's the governor, yes.
The Crossroads College, where all my friends live, does that rely upon the corruption of the Coriolis Guard to actually get by?
Yes, absolutely.
So I don't really want to completely reform the Coriolis Guard because I don't want all my friends to lose their living.
No, definitely not.
Okay, that's fine. I'm okay with a bit of corruption. It's all right. I'm not. This is not the conversation I'm having with Cassandra,
no.
Of course.
Yeah, we'll get rid of some corruption, but corruption has its uses.
Yeah, the bits of corruption that help me out, I'm going to leave those.
I mean, he's here, probably somewhere in this crowd. He's exactly the sort of chap that would have been invited.
Okay.
Do you want to take your leave and explore the rest of the party?
Is that what he's saying to us?
Well, no, I'm asking.
Do you want to take your leave? Yeah, obviously, yeah. If you say so, Captain Kazar.
He would quite happily have you here being photographed with the captain. You are great political capital for him. But at the same time, he's too polite to make you stay if you want to go and meet someone.
Well, I think we'll stay, for long enough to be, politeness sake. Don't know.
I guess they were more than polite. I think you probably want to. I mean, who else is there going to hear who's going to be more important and influential than him?
I mean, other than being a figurehead, is he politically powerful, Captain Kassar? Would we know?
Politically powerful. He is at the head of the family that is at the head of hegemony.
Hegemony.
Yeah, but is he now, genuinely at the head of it? He's not just a figurehead.
Absolutely. Well,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know whether you know Zenithian politics well enough, but that is the story that is said. if you remember at all your conversation about with Yohar Kassar, who's the hegemonic ambassador to Coriolis, who may have been implicated in the
emissaries
disappearance. If he did do anything to contribute to that, it was because of the threat of honor against the Kassar family, and that will have been about protecting his. I don't know whether he's the son. I can't remember whether he's the son or simply a nephew of Captain Kassar. But yeah. Now they're not obviously. They're famously not in command of the Horizon. Effectively, the Consortium, which are, if you want to say, the more liberal, commercially minded, they're Zenithian still, but more, frankly, less Nazi group.
So we've just signed up with the Nazis.
You have actually signed up with the
Well, we've just signed up with the secret police of the Nazis.
Oh, yes.
What were they called?
Yeah. So not the Nazis per se, but the SS.
The really extreme bit. So, yeah, okay.
They're just, but they have given you a really good party.
And
a good
retainer.
And they all raise their glasses at you.
Yeah, I'll do that. Hadn't realised that we've all been goose stepping around this hall, frankly, but...
Well, they're not quite as Nazi as all that. But they are a bit racist. But only in the way that you were yourself at the beginning of this campaign, Oshian.
Yeah, I think I've learned better, maybe. But maybe just hate everybody now.
Sow the wind, reap the whirlwind, Dave.
Yes, I think we should probably go and pound the room, as it were.
Yes, go and mingle.
And then come back to the captain's table towards the end of the evening and make sure we're involved in the the after party jacuzzis and all that.
He says when you meet him. Oh, sorry. I'm cutting to saying who you've met. So, Mr. Grumpy, let's bring him back.
We're dealing with the Mr. Men now. We've gone into that part of the...
Yeah, we didn't take the job because Mr. Tickle offered us a better job.
You do realise the gravity of the mistake you've just made. We possess the means to make your lives difficult. I'm sorry to inform you that your ship will be impounded, and you may find your visitation rights to Coriolis limited going forward. But if this is truly the way you wish to go, I can't stop you.
Well, if that's your reaction to us turning down a job, then we've probably made the right decision, haven't we? I would suspect.
He turns and he signals for his entourage to follow, and there's a couple of kind of plainclothes legionaries with him as well, and they will block you from following him if you try to do that.
No, why would we want to do that?
Yeah, exactly. We'll see. I'm sure our new friends can pull some strings to get Najara out of Dabaran.
I would imagine so.
The woman in the red dress who you met in the lift is a lot more friendly when she approaches you and quite apologetic. She says, well, that's quite a way to say that you don't want to work with us.
It's not that we don't want to work with you.
No.
It's just.
But we appreciate the offer. We appreciate the offer very much.
I understand. We've not been clear enough about who we are and what we want from you. There was too little time. Rest assured that we will reach out again, and I hope to be able to present a more detailed and luxurious offer in the future. And then she takes each of your hands and says, until then, good luck. And she squeezes your hands.
Okay, this is worrying.
Like you're a child going off for an exam.
Thank you.
Making sure
a smile away.
She didn't have anything in her hands.
No.
Like a little gum jabbar or something.
No, absolutely nothing. It was a general act of humanity.
As she walks off, I shall say, "May the icons bless your adventures."
Now, do you remember I wrote that
I'll say that's goodbye from him.
Bye, Lunk.
Do you remember I wrote that article about how the Zenithians were a bunch of racists for the magazine show?
Yeah.
And I remember Richard and Croyer saying, "No, they're not. You're misunderstanding them." I just want to point out what he then says about how the Bulletin are covering all this. The drones quietly crisscross the hall, catching who's talking to who, which racist jokes pull the most laughter, and who designed which outfit. So I just wanted to read that bit out. I'd forgotten that bit, but it did make me laugh when I read it first. As the third watch begins, the grand stage is illuminated by the pulsing glow of sugar globes. A hollow wall projects a montage of night skies from all the corners of the horizon, and the guests all turn towards the stage. A red Debaran rug is unrolled ceremoniously, and Mahadia Alna of the Bulletin, your companion at the beginning of the evening, takes to the stage dressed in a flamboyant, exquisitely tailored gown. A cloud of camera drones captures the scene for the expectant crowds watching from Alcamar's or the Core Plaza. Smiling, Mahadia addresses the room. People of the horizon, Zenithians and First Cam, dear friends. My name is Mahadia Alana, and all of us share a common fate and a great future. The clocks of the Cyclade strike the hour. A new cycle begins, and another is laid to rest. Let us embrace what lies ahead. Let us celebrate hope and progress. A united council will lead us into the light. And as the ensuing toasts and cheers quieten down, Mahadia gestures to a producer below the stage, and a swarm of makeup and wardrobe assistants around you apply the finishing touches and step away, exhaling in relief as they push you gently towards the stage.
I keep getting kind of feelings of, sacrificial subjects. Anyway, I guess we go to the stage.
Yeah.
Please join me in welcoming to the stage the survivors from Uharu. More applause, more toasts. I bet Millie and Paul are really regretting not being here for this session. A couple of parties in the crowd appear less impressed. After a dangerous mission, deep beyond the Order's unsanctioned blockade, our heroes made it home against all the odds. I find their valor to be a perfect example of that sacred principle which we, as Zenithians, all strive towards. Unity. They chose to defy the oppressor's unjust actions, and yet to attempt to rescue some of the very Zelosians that were keeping them from coming through the portal. They chose to tear away the gag some would place over the mouth of progress. At this, scattered outbursts from the crowd interrupt her. An emotional tirade of curses is quickly shushed. Somewhere, someone breaks a glass against the floor. Various groups of bodyguards shift uneasily. The disaster that followed, the Icon's righteous striking down of the agents of chaos, clearly shows the way forward. Our heroes fought for Zenithian ideals and were delivered from evil because of it. Stalwart in the face of darkness, children of the portals, an example of the future and a proof that the mercy of the Icons comes only to those who follow the right leaders. And there's pictures appearing behind you of you and Captain Kassar in embrace. Strength and grace come only from Zenith's light. She's interrupted again. A decanter comes soaring through the air and shatters against the hollow screen, rupturing the image of you and Captain Kassar. It's quickly replaced by a mirror and starscape. Angry shouts accompany the act, first from the Zolosian groups, then the Free League, and into many of other first-come contingents. Lies! Slander! Servants of the darkness! Murderers! War criminals! The slightly delayed broadcast is cut short before the commotion reaches the viewing masses in Coriolis. Their screens instead switching to an animated countdown to a backtrack of soft music. None the wiser as to the real reason for the sudden cut. The people gathered on the core plaza count down in unison with the clock on the screen. House guards all around Sky City close ranks around their masters as someone pulls you off the stage and you're suddenly left alone in the middle of the angry crowd. Someone makes a grab for your collar. A glass shatters against the pillar behind you. The banquet is turning into a riot, and the slighted mob around you need a target. And it's about 4 minutes to 10. So I suggest we stop there.
Just at the point we're about to get our heads kicked in.
Yeah, you're about to be glassed. Basically a giant pub fight.
We haven't had a bar brawl for a while in any of our games, have we? So I guess we're overdue.
Yeah, it's not like having your face spread across the entire horizon attached to a bunch of fascists as direct opponents of another bunch of religious fanatics.
It's a bad thing, is how it finished.
Yes. The other line, it's really key.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Right, we shall cut to the action
okay.
next week. And we didn't
Cool.
quite finish this, so there will be one more act of the Uharan Echo.
Yeah, of course. Yes.
And we'll say goodbye to our
cool. Thank you for watching, everybody.
Thank you all for staying with us.
See you all soon.
Do that and do that.